Thanks again for joining the Emancipate Show. I'm your host, Kel, and today's topic is why we don't learn financial literacy in school. Now, my answer to that is because they want us to keep us spending, and I have a plethora of things that we need to speak on. Now, as you know, black people is responsible for spending $1 trillion in America, right? And why would they teach us the value of money if they're going to make all these dollars off us, right? But before I get to that, whatever, right? First thing I want to talk about is literacy and financial literacy, right? Um, I think everybody needs to take this. This is something that should be mandatory in school. Everybody needs to take the course on financial literacy and literacy, so we can know the value of money. But upon learning literacy and financial literacy, we need to learn um, the value of money, right? And when we learn the value of money, we learn about credit. You feel me? Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to take on to a lot of things in school, but those that know it will say we can always reflect back on it and say, "Hey, I did learn this in such and such school, and I know the value of money." If you notice, everybody that their thing of being rich is flexing, like, oh, they got some Jordans on. These Jordans are $250, they're $300. I got this Gucci on, I got this on, I got that on. And a lot of times, well, 99% of the time, all these brands that you wear has no value. But you'll never see anybody come on the internet and they flexing a Rolex or Birkin bag. But they'll floss Gucci, Louis, Prada. I don't even know what happened to them. But they'll floss all these different brands that have no value, right? My daughter's actually learning uh she's learning a course on credit, and she's also learning a course on financial literacy. Now, when we learn credit um, and the value of money, we won't show off things that have no value. You know what I'm saying? But if we don't learn these things from home, when we go out there, we're just gonna be acting a fool and showing off brands and thinking like, oh, we made it because we bought a Beamer, and that's something to celebrate. Because I mean, car prices is high right now, but these things that we flex, like if you buy a car, the minute you buy it, you drive it off the lot, it depreciates, right? And if we learn the value of certain things, our way of thinking will be different. I'll give you an example. I pick up this chick today, right? I'm not gonna say her name, and she said, "Oh, I went all out for my kid. I make sure that they're happy and this is that and the third, whatever, whatever, right?" But I'm like, yeah, you make sure that they're happy, but at your expense. They say the average American only has $5,000, if that much, in their account, right? Now, if you buy all these different gifts for Christmas, right? And you fully tree up with all these different gifts, they only could use them one at a time, right? When you look at your bank account at January 15 or January 1st or so, you're gonna say like, yo, you broke. Yeah, you did make the kids happy, whatever, but how much do you have left over? You know what I'm saying? You spend all this money on Christmas, but what do you have to show? Things that have no value. The kids might be happy, but you're broke. Now, let's say something happens. What you gonna do? You feel me? Now, let me give you a list of holidays that these people have. These are when they spend money a lot. Back to college, which is like back to school, winter holidays, Mother's Day, Easter, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, graduation, Halloween, Super Bowl. That's just 10. Now we got New Year's, Martin Luther King. I don't think people spend money on that. Washington birthday. I don't think people spend money like that. Memorial Day, people spend money. Juneteenth might somewhat. Independence Day, people do spend money. Labor Day, people do spend money. Columbus Day, I think they have a Greek holiday too, if I'm not mistaken. Veterans Day, people probably spend the money. Christmas Day, people spend money. And definitely Thanksgiving, people blow a bag. You feel me? Now, all these holidays is created for people to keep spending. Now, the more you spend, the richer you make these entities and the poorer you become. Now, had you known the value, like, why do you need to give you an example? Why do you need to celebrate Thanksgiving? Don't you give thanks for the food that you eat every day? Christmas, you buy all these gifts only to be broke on in January, right? Like all these big celebrations of things, and people are still living from paycheck to paycheck. Now, if you learn the value of money now, you think different. If you're on the stock market, your way of thinking would be different. You feel me? If you go into school, the way they teach you about the history that they give us is not our history, it's their history, right? And it's the same reputation thing over and over. Might be a few changes here or there, but nothing to educate you on how to build wealth. They never teach you about the stock market. They never teach you about credit. They just teach you to go to school and become a worker. That's it, right? And people are okay with that. Maybe if you go to private school, maybe it might be a little bit different. But how much people got money to either stay home and homeschool or do private school? Because private school is no joke. That shit is expensive, right? So if we stop wasting our money on all these different brands and we start saying, okay, I value my money. I don't need to show off and flex on a person in order for them to feel like, yo, I made it or something like that. You know, when you make it when you have, like, let's say you have your kid, right? You don't have to go to the government to get no kind of assistance, anything of the sort. You have your own place, you have your own car, and you have at least $10 or $20,000 in the bank, and you don't have to worry about getting any kind of assistance or so, because eventually they're gonna cut our Social Security. We don't have Section 8 like that no more, right? They say there's $1 million in every household. I'll give you an example, right? If the Mexicans can work together, right? You could have 20 Mexicans in one place, right? And they all work together and send their money back home, whatever, right? The Chinese could work together also, right? They all work in shifts and they all work collectively together, right? Black Americans, they can't work together. God bless them if they last maybe a week, a couple of days. And Jamaicans, maybe a couple of hours. It's just not happening with them, right? Italians could work together because they're orientated where they'll work together. Spanish people can work together. You have 4 or 5 of them that's living in one household. Everybody there is getting food stamps. Everybody got a case in there. They're all getting food stamp. But guess how they fumble the ball? They fumble the ball because they like to party. Likewise, the Jamaicans too. They like to party. But as you can see, even the Indian people, they can work collectively together. But Black Americans and people that's from the island, my people, we just can't work together. Even Albanians, they can work together too. If you do a track history of how they work together. They work together. They put each other onto a store, and then they got each other working in different stores. The only time I see black people working together is whenever they're a Muslim, right? And when they become Muslim, then they work and they go from store to store to store, right? Like in the area, whatever. Like one store's here, one store's there, and they all work together. Everybody got a community except for us. The Italians got a community, Chinese got a community, the Mexicans got a community, the Indians got a community, the Albanians got a community, the Spanish people got a community. Black people don't have a community. But we support everybody except our own. Even the Jewish people got a community. I'm gonna tell you something what I like about the Jewish people. Even if the shit is ugly and they don't like it, they still support each other. Right? But we, whenever we work collectively together, whenever that is, that gets them upset. But when we're separated, they make more. Now imagine if we know our history and we know the value of money and we learn the market. Just think about that for a second. Let that soak in. Right? If we learn our history, then we know where we're coming from. If we know the value of money, we know how to spend it. You feel me? Because most of these jobs that we complain and we do, we expecting corporations and all these different entities to care. But personally, they don't give two crap about us. Oh, why they don't care? That this, that, and the third. They don't care. You just a paycheck. You a worker, and if you don't do it, they get somebody else because we're willing to work and fight over crumbs. If you notice, when a Jewish person is born, they're born in wealth. They're born in wealth right out the gate. You notice whenever white people make their kids and stuff like that, you know what they make sure of? They make sure they secure the bag. We don't do that. We make babies at 18, 19, 23, 24, and we ain't got a pot to piss in and a window to throw through. Now, if we were imagine if we were learning these things and our parents was spending more time with us and teaching us all these different things, the value of money, how to spend it. You know what I'm saying? Be frugal with your spending, and you don't have to dress up in brands to be approved, and you don't have anything to prove to anybody but yourself. Imagine if we were learning these things not only in school but in our household. Imagine the kind of power we would yield as a community. You feel me? So if we're learning these things not only in our household but in school, collectively we'll be a better race of people. Just think about that for a second, right? Everybody got a community except for us. We spend the most money, but we're the brokest. Do we even care? You tell a ninja about the stock market he run. I'll give you another one. The bank and the stock market is two Ponzi scheme, right? But listen to the trick of them, right? When you put your money in the bank, how much interest you get on it? You probably get maybe a couple of cents, maybe one or $2 or $3 or so. Okay. Now, I don't know if you ever read the fine print for the bank, but the money that you even put in the bank is not even your money. If the government goes to war and they need to pull resources from the bank, they use your money. If they want to close your account and take that they could do that. Now, if you put your money on the stock market and you invest it, yeah, your stock might go down, but eventually it will increase in value. And if you don't want to buy a stock, you buy fractional shares. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just trying to give you the difference between a bank and the stock market. When you put it in the stock market, your value for your money can increase over a period of time. When you put it in the bank, they lend it to Tom, Mary, Johnny, Bobby, and how much you get back on your money? A couple of cents, two, $3 or $4. Imagine if you do investment, a fractional share in investment. Because when you have a 401k, what do you think you're doing? They take your money and they put it on the market into fractional shares. Now that money is dispersed into Tesla, Apple, and all these other stocks. Maybe some Berkshire Hathaway added in that also. And the money that you work, turn over money for your 401k. right? But imagine if you were learning that prior to you working. They send us to school to become workers. They don't send us to school to become entrepreneurs. They send us to become workers. They say, oh, go to school, go to college, and get a good job. That's it. Remember, your life could turn out in four ways, right? You could be a bum and live off the government. You could go to work and do your 8 hour shift. You could become an independent contractor and work for yourself, or you could become a boss. Those are the four steps in life, and there's no going around that. Rich people make money off their investments, right? And I give you another one, that something that people don't even like to hear about. You tell a person about life insurance, they say, "Oh, I'm not gonna die. I'm young. Oh, that will never happen to me. Tomorrow's promised to no man. Anybody could die, right?" So if you don't invest any money in yourself, what are you actually worth? Just ask yourself, what am I worth? If I'm dead, you see, you sometimes see these guys that's on the block. They holding the block down, right? Because they got shares in that shit. Site. That's the government property. You tell them to get life insurance because you're at risk. You're a high risk of. There's a high possibility that you could get killed by the ops, right? Nobody invests in life insurance. A whole life insurance. They have life insurance, and they have the whole life term insurance. Now, the difference between the life insurance is that the life insurance pays give you a payout in the event you pass. The whole life term insurance, after a while, if you're not working, they'll pay for you while you're out of work. Now, these guys, they get killed on the block. They do a GoFundMe, but people give them a whole bunch of likes, but nobody ain't doing any kind of payment towards your funeral. Everybody got all. Imagine if everybody that dropped, if it's 1,000 like, and everybody put $1. At least it'll be something to go towards your funeral. But nobody don't give a shit. Nobody ain't trying to contribute. But everybody want to be the first person to post it. Everybody want to say, oh, such and such died. But how much you got on his funeral? And how was this guy moving in the street? Did he put any money towards, in the event he passed, he leave something for his family? So we keep on passing on that same broke element over and over and over again, and the cycle never changes. So we need to do better as a whole, and as a community, and as people. We need to learn about the market. We need to learn about the value of money. We need to learn about investment. We need to learn about credit, because you can't buy nothing without credit. They want to see your taxes. They want to see your credit score. I think personally, I think your credit score shouldn't matter. I think they should look at your banking statement to see your if you can keep money in your account, and you're spending, and if you could hold money for a period of time. Because anybody can have credit, but that doesn't mean that you're a good spender, or a good payer. Is if you have money in the account. I think that's where the real credit should come in from, and they should do like a 5 year check on that. But Jewish people is born in wealth. Most Chinese people, when they come here, they secure the bag. They don't even put their money in bank. They put their money in the walls. Albanians, they open up stores. Mexicans do landscaping and send their money back home. Indians work and send their money back home. Spanish people, they open up corner stores, but they fumble the ball when it comes towards getting something bigger than just a corner store. Black people, we just spend. Black Americans, most Black Americans and Jamaicans just spend, spend, get lit. That's not being lit, man. Lit is when you got the bag. Lit is when you set the foundation and make sure you carry on generational wealth. This is why Johnson Johnson is rich. The Waltons is rich. Elon Musk is definitely going to be rich. Apple, the Steve Jobs kid is rich. You know what I'm saying? People that's even on YouTube and TikTok make more money than these niggas that's on the block. Let that soak in for a little bit. You feel me? So you have to know your worth as a person. Anybody that's watching this, it's no offense. You need to look into yourself and ask yourself, what are you worth? Now, I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm just saying if I kick the bucket, my family's going to be all right. Now, that depends on what they do with the money. But if I was going to write a will, they would have to learn literacy, financial literacy, and they'd have to take a course on the value of money. And that will be, they have to learn that 3 times in their teens, mid, and then when they reach 30. So they have to learn those 3 courses. They have to learn that 3 times before they able to touch the money. Because if you don't know the value of money, how you gonna know how to keep it? So we need to change the narrative on money. A lot of people that win lotto, they go broke because what, they buy a whole bunch of foolishness. And guess what? What do they have to show? All our favorite companies got a stock. And if they don't have a stock, they have a stock that they invest in. Gap, Apple, Verizon, T-Mobile, all of them have a stock. People are afraid to invest in money because they say they will lose it. How you lose it? You lose it when you sell. You can't lose it if it's up, and you sell, you make a profit. So all I'm saying to my people is this: learn the value of money. Before white people make these kids, they make sure they secure the bag. When I had my first kid, I was 27, I had $10,000. And then my money started dwindling because of child support. But that's a different story. So all I'm saying to you is that know your worth. Come apart these projects, come apart these apartments, start becoming more owners. Passing on an apartment in a project is not the wave. You don't own that shit. You don't own it. Passing on poverty is not a wave. It's not lit. That shit is whack. That shit is weak. You're passing on more poverty to your kids, another poverty to your kids, and the chain just keep on going. The government owns you. I mean, I know we're state property, but at the end of the day, we need to know our value. Come apart them projects, come apart them apartments, come apart them shelters, and start becoming homeowners, landlords, and become people that's entrepreneurs. Oprah didn't get where she got to because she was just sitting waiting for it to fall out of the sky. She bust her ass. Tyler Perry didn't get to where he get to. He had to bust his ass. He came from out of his car. Spike Lee, he had to put work in and not on a block. You feel me? We got to know our worth because in the system, we're considered stocks. And how they know us, they know us by our numbers, our social security. And we're stocks to these people. So we need to bring value to ourselves. Only then and then we'll have worth and we could pass something on to the next generation. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in Emancipate Show. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care of yourself. Know your worth.